Okay, so if you say there is a grammar, so according to Chomsky hierarchy, you can categorize the grammar into different type of grammar, like your type 3 grammar, type 2 grammar, type 1 grammar, type 0 grammar, or you can call that as a regular grammar, context free grammar, context sensitive grammar, unrestricted grammars. So simply if I draw like this, it is called as type, it is type 3 grammar. Type 3 grammar, the other name is also called as regular grammar. Regular grammar, type 3 grammar. Next, then we'll go for type 3, then we'll go for type 2 grammar. Type 2 grammar. So type 2 grammar is called as context free grammar. Type 2 grammar is called as context free grammar. Okay, CFG. Then type 1 grammar. Type 1 grammar is called as context sensitive grammar, CSG, context sensitive grammar. And all other grammar which is not coming under that category are called as type 0 grammar. Type 0 grammar, or simply it is called as unrestricted grammars. Unrestricted grammars. So according to those category of a grammar, there is a different type of machine can be constructed. For the regular grammar, simply you can call that as a finite automaton. For context free grammar, the machine equal to push down automaton. You can shortly denote that as a PDA, push down automaton. If it is a context free grammar, the machine equal to linear bounded automaton. Linear bounded automaton. And if it is a unrestricted grammar, then the machine is called as Turing machines. So these are the hierarchy of a Chomsky hierarchy of the grammars: regular grammar, context free grammar, context sensitive grammar, unrestricted grammars. Machine equal to finite automaton, either it is NFA or it is a DFA. Then it is push down automaton, either it is a deterministic push down automaton or it is a non-deterministic push down automaton. Then we will go for linear bounded automaton, and the last hierarchy of this is called as unrestricted, and the machine is equal to Turing machines. But in our discussion, we will basically discuss about the third part of the grammar. It is called as context free grammar. So we can discuss about these things. It is called as context free grammar. So we have already discussed that part. What is a context free grammar? The number of variable symbols, context free grammars. Okay, so to know this context free grammar, we have to know several terminology that are associated with this grammar. So if we say there is a G, mathematically you can define this grammar G with 4 number of parameters, one equal to V, another one equal to T, P and S. So what is exactly meaning of this V? V is nothing but variable symbol. You can call that as a variable symbol or non-terminal symbols. So what are the symbols that are coming under this variable or non-terminal symbols? All the capital letters like your A, capital B, capital C, capital D, S, all are coming under this variable symbol, capital letters. Then T is the terminal symbols. T is the terminal symbol. So if it is a terminal symbol, it is a small a, small b, small c, digits 0, 1, 2, etc. all are coming under these terminal symbols. Next is production rule. The production rule is nothing but how you can find those terminal symbols from the non-terminal symbols. It is denoted by a production rule. How you can define, how can you derive the input string from the given non-terminal symbol is coming under production rule. and S is your start symbol. S is your start symbol from which you have to begin. It is called as start symbol. So those four parameters are associated with the context free grammar. You can shortly call that as a VTPS. Along with those terminal and variable symbol, there are some symbols are there. Is a special case of those symbols. It is called as grammar symbols. So the meaning of this grammar symbol is nothing but it may be a terminal, it may be a terminal, it may be a non-terminal. The combination of maybe also combination of a terminal and non-terminal. Like you can say that is a alpha, beta, gamma. All those symbols are coming under grammar symbols. Okay. So context free grammar is completed. Then we have to find out what is exactly meaning of this context free grammar. So the rule of the context free grammar is nothing but there may be any number of non-terminal symbol which is present on the right hand side of the production, which is not allowed in case of a regular grammar. If it is a regular grammar, maximum it can associated with a one non-terminal symbol which is maybe present in the leftmost part or it may be present in the rightmost part. So that we have called that as a left linear grammar or right linear grammar. But here in this case there may be multiple number of non-terminal symbol which may be present on the right hand side of the productions. Okay. So let us consider example of this context free grammar. Suppose I have a production equal to, let it will be E2, let it will be E2, E plus E, E2, E star E, E star E and E2 ID. Now this is not a regular grammar. Why it is not a regular grammar? The right hand side consists of a two number of a non-terminal symbol. But the condition of a regular grammar, the maximum at most one non-terminal symbol is present on the right hand side. So it is not a regular grammar. Then we have to check what is a context free grammar. S is a context free grammar. So why it is context free grammar? The position is independent. There will be any number of a non-terminal symbol which is present in the right hand side. Okay. So out of those symbols, how can we represent this one in the form of a G? So if I write this G is nothing but the collection of VTPS, variable terminal production rule and start symbols. Okay. So how many variable symbols are there? Only one variable symbol. It is called as E. E is the only one variable symbol. Okay. How many number of a terminal symbol will be there? There will be one plus. Operator symbol is also terminal symbol. Plus, star and ID. So it will be plus, star and ID. Completed. Next. This one is the P. This one you can represent as the productions. So this value equal to P. Which one is the start symbol? The beginning of the production is nothing but E. Now this production can be denoted by those type of a parameter V, T, P and S. Okay. So once you find this production, then you can easily know that whether it is a context free grammar or not. So if you find that context free grammar, then you can easily find out what what is the derivation to find this context free grammars. Okay. So let us take some small example. Okay. Suppose you have a production. Let us consider an example of the context free grammar. Suppose you have a production. From that production you have to find out is the corresponding input strings. Whatever the input string is given to you, you have to find out the input string from the given context free grammars. Okay. So let us consider a small example. Suppose that one, E plus E. Let my string equal to ID. Let my string equal to ID plus ID star ID. ID plus ID star ID. This one is my input string. I have to check from this grammar, can I get this input string or not. Okay, so we have to start from the E. Okay, so first there is a plus symbol, so you can take the production. There is a production from E to E plus E. Okay, now E can be converted to, remember that point, go for one by one substitution, don't go for the multiple number of substitution at the same step. So first ID, it is represented as ID. Second E is to be represented as E star E. Okay, you have to follow according to the input string. So now this one equal to ID, this value equal to plus, this E can be represented as again ID. Now another E will be there. At the third step, you can write this value as ID plus ID star ID. So this may be one type of a derivation. Now you can check, you have to start from the E, you can reach up to the ID plus ID star ID. Okay, so this type of mechanism is called as top down approach. You have to start from the start symbol, you have to reach up to the input string, then it's called as a top down approach. And we are following, here we have followed the leftmost derivations. Now the same thing, one can say that instead of E plus E, can I take E star E or not? Yes, you can take that value. It will be E to E star E. This value equal to E to E star E. Now this E can be replaced with this. Since my requirement equal to plus, so definitely the left value should be plus. So it will be E plus E, then it is star. So this E can be replaced with the ID plus, all other remain same. At the single step, just represent one at a time, not multiple number at the same times. Now this value equal to ID, that is a plus symbol. This E is represented as ID plus this E value over there. Okay, now it is ID plus ID star. Again I have to represent that as a ID. So now you can check, either you can take E star E or E plus E, you can get the same answer, that is ID plus ID star ID. So this is the exact mechanism in which you can find out the derivations. Okay, so once you find these derivations, we can go for the construction of its parse tree. Okay, so I'll erase the right hand side part of this one. I'll erase this part. What is exactly parse tree? So to represent your derivation in the form of a tree structure is called as parse tree, or the other name of a parse tree is also called as derivation tree. Parse tree also called as derivation tree. Why it is called as derivation tree? Since it is constructed from the derivations, hence it is called as derivation tree. Let us draw the derivation tree or parse tree for the first one. So it is E. First cases, it will be E. E is divided into two parts. One is E plus E. Okay. Now this E is represented as ID. We have already represented this E is represented as ID here. You can check. Second ID is completed. There is a plus symbol. Now second E is represented as E star E. Now you can check, this second E is represented as E star E. So how to write this one? Equal to E. Remember this label should be same. E star E. Now the first E is represented as ID. So this E is to be represented as ID. Now after this step, this ID is represented as another ID. Now you get the input string. with the tree structure. It is id plus id star id. Now you get the input string id plus id star id for which derivation? This first derivation. This first derivation, this one is the tree. Now the question is, can I draw the parse tree for the second derivation or not? Now in the similar way, first one is e is to be represented as, what is the representation? E star e. So it will be e to e star e. Now this e is to be represented as, what is the value it is to represented? E plus e. I can write like this, e to e plus e. Okay. Now this e is to be represented as id. This e is represented as id. Okay. Now this e is to be again represented as id. Now which value you get? id plus the terminal nodes or the leaf nodes, id plus id star id. Same thing I can get, id plus id star id. Okay. So now you get two type of a tree structure for this one. Grammar will be same, input string will be same, but you get two number of a parse tree, two different number of a parse tree. So to identify this type of a derivation, there will be two type of a derivation of the context free grammar. One is called as leftmost derivation, one is called as leftmost derivation. You can call that as a LMD. Shortly you can call that as a LM and D. Another one is called as rightmost derivation. One is leftmost derivation, another one is rightmost derivation. So what is the meaning of this leftmost derivation and rightmost derivation? What is the difference? So let us discuss about the first one, leftmost, then we will go for the rightmost. Suppose it is leftmost, you have to scan from left to right. Whenever a non-terminal symbol is present in the leftmost part, replace with its corresponding productions. And you will continue the same process until you get a desired strings. Just like this. Suppose I have to take the leftmost over here. You have to scan from the left to right from these positions. Once a non-terminal symbol will be there, replace with the corresponding production, and you will continue the same process until you get a desired strings. Okay. What is exactly rightmost derivation? Scan from right to left. Whenever there is a non-terminal symbol arises, replace with its corresponding production, and you will continue these steps from right to left. Rightmost value should be replaced with the corresponding productions. That one is called as rightmost derivations. So two things we have to remember, whether it is a leftmost derivation, whether it is a rightmost derivation. If it is a leftmost derivation, you will go for left to right. If it is a rightmost derivation, you will go for the right to left. So let us consider some of the example of whether you have to follow the leftmost. Either or condition will be there. Either you will go for the leftmost derivation or you will go for the rightmost derivation over there. So let us first discuss about leftmost, then we will go for the rightmost derivations. Leftmost derivations. Okay. So if it is a leftmost derivation, the objective of the leftmost derivation is nothing but you have to scan from left to right. Whenever the value is there, you have to replace with its corresponding productions, and the movement is from the left to right. Okay, the movement is from the left to right. Okay, then let us consider one example. Suppose I have to find out let us take an example. We have to find out the context free grammar or the derivation tree for this given grammar. Let the grammar is like this, AS2, let it will be AS2, small a, then it will be capital A, and capital S. Remember, if it is a capital, it is a variable symbols. If it is a small, it is a terminal symbol. Then it will be S to A, S to A, then A to capital S, B and capital A. Okay, then A to SS, both are capital, SS, and A to BA, A to BA. So all the grammar production are given to you. Now those productions you can two variables are there, either it will be S or it will be A. So simply you can write like this: S to A, capital A, S, or small a, this production. A to, you can write A to, that is a production to S, B, capital A, or S, S, or B, A. Now what should be the grammar for this production? What is my G? G equal to VTPS. So how many variable symbol are here? Two variable symbol. Either it will be S or it will be A. Either it will be S or it will be A. What are the terminal symbols? Two terminal symbols are there. Either it will be small a or it will be small b. So this one is the production rule. These all are coming under the production rule. You can call that as a P, production rules. Now S is the start symbol. Now the grammar is completed. Okay, the grammar is completed. So for this grammar, we have to take whether the input string, let my input string equal to A, B, B, A. Let my input string equal to A, B, B, A. Okay. So for this input string, can I get the input string from the start symbol or not? Okay. Let us go for the leftmost derivations. So it is S2. We have to start from the production. There is a production from S to AS. Why I choose this production? And the first character of this one is matches with the first character of the input string. Hence it can be easy for you to find out these productions. So it will be S2, small a, capital A, S. A is completed. What is my next requirement? My next requirement equal to another A. So from the A production, I have to choose which productions are associated with the A. From A production, I have to choose which production is starting from small a. So three productions are there. One is SBA, another one is 2 number of S, another one is BA. So this value I cannot take. Why? Since it is starting from B, but my requirement equal to A. So rest 2. Out of these 2, I can choose any one of them. So first one is A is completed. Now this A is to be taken as SB. Then again there is a capital A and another one is S is here. That means you have replaced this A with the value of a, which value? With the value of a SBA. Completed. Now A is there. My requirement equal to, next requirement equal to another A. There is a production from S to A or not? Here is the production S to A. So in place of S, I can replace with A. This S can be replaced with A. Then it will be B, capital A and capital S. Now first 3 requirements is completed. A, B. Okay. So it will be A. Another A will be there. B will be there. Now this A is to be replaced. So from A, my requirement equal to B. From A there is a production to BA. This production. So in place of A, I can replace with BA. And last one equal to S. Okay. So it will be A, B, B. Then it will be A. The last S is to be remaining. So from S, my requirement equal to A. My requirement equal to A. For A, there is a production S to A. So in place of S, I can replace with the A. Now I can get my input string or not. So this type of derivations is called as leftmost derivation. Why it is called leftmost? We have to scan from left to right. Whenever a non-terminal symbol arises, we can replace with its corresponding terminal symbols, and you will continue this process until a input string is to be generated. Okay, now let us draw the parse for this type of derivations. So the beginning equal to s. S can be represented as a, small a, capital A and capital S. Okay, this A can be replaced as S, small b, capital A. From S you can represent small a, b will remain there. This A is to be represented as small b, small a. This S is to be represented as small a. Now what are the input string over here? A, B, B, A. Now you can get the input string, and this one is called as the parse tree for the given leftmost derivations. Okay, suppose I have to draw the same thing in case of a rightmost derivations. So let us consider the second example. It is coming under rightmost derivation. Okay, so I have to start from that same thing. It will be S to A, capital A and S. But here I have to move this side. I have to move from this side. That is right to left. Whenever a non-terminal symbol is present in the rightmost position, replace with its corresponding person, and you will continue this one. Now check what is the last element. For this input string I have to move from this side. So what is my first input symbol? Input symbol equal to S. Now check, is there any production from S to A? There is a production from S to A. It is nothing but S to A. So in place of S I have to replace with A. Then the rest two value are directly I have written. Completed. Again I have to scan from this right to left. This S value is replaced. Then the non-terminal equal to A. So this value equal to A. This value equal to A. Now my requirement is equal to, I have to decompose this A. So there is a production from A. It is nothing but S B A. Instead of A you can replace with S B A. Then another A is present over here. Okay, again scan from left to right, right to left. So it will, this value will be represented. Now first A is given. What should be my requirement? My requirement equal to another A. Now you have to check which production from A ending with small a. So this production ending with small a. So instead of this A you can take small b, small a. Rest are remain same. AS. Now again scan from right to left. A is a terminal, small a is a terminal, small b terminal, small b. Now this one is a non-terminal symbol. Now you can replace this production with A. So it will be B B A A. Okay. So if you draw the parse tree for this one is called as rightmost derivation. If you draw the parse tree for this one, it will give exactly the same parse tree whatever you constructed in case of a leftmost derivation. Same parse tree. So whatever the parse tree is given in leftmost derivation, the same parse tree can be constructed in case of a rightmost derivation. Just like same. It will be S. It will be starting from S. Then S, here you can say that from S to A. Then this A can be represented as S B A. Okay. Now this A is to be represented as small b, small a. S is represented as small a. Now you get the input string A B B A. So there will be no difference among those leftmost derivation and rightmost derivation. You can get a single parse tree. Either you follow the leftmost derivation or you follow the rightmost derivations. Okay, you get the same parse tree. Now I think leftmost derivation and rightmost derivation is completed. Then the question is, what do you mean by ambiguous grammar? What is the exact meaning of ambiguous grammar? Ambiguous grammar in context-free grammar. And remember one thing, if you can construct more than one parse tree, for a particular grammar, then it is called as ambiguous in nature. So a grammar, a context free grammar G is said to be ambiguous in nature if you can construct multiple number of a parse tree for the same grammar. So the meaning of multiple number of parse tree is nothing but either there exist multiple number of more than one leftmost derivation or more than one rightmost derivation. Don't go for the comparing left to right. It is either it is a leftmost derivation or it is a rightmost derivation. Either there will be more than one leftmost derivation or there may be more than one rightmost derivations. So that one is important over here. We have to discuss. It is called as ambiguity in context free grammar. Ambiguity in context free grammar. So if there is ambiguity in the context free grammar, basic thing is that there will be more than one parse tree exists for the same production. More than one parse tree exists for the same production, or you can say that more than one leftmost derivation or more than one rightmost derivation exists for the same production. You can call that as grammar as a ambiguous grammars. Okay, so let us consider an example. Let it will be that example I have previously discussed. Let us consider another example. You can easily clear from that one. Suppose my grammar equal to S to A star S, S to S plus S, then S to A and S to B. Simply you can write this grammar as S to S plus S or A star S or A or B. Now I have to check whether the grammar is ambiguous or not. Whether this grammar is ambiguous in nature or not. So how to check? Either there will be more than one leftmost derivation or more than one rightmost derivation exists. So let us consider leftmost derivation of 1. So let you have to start from S to so you have to identify what is the input string. Let the input string equal to A plus A star B. A plus A star B. Okay. So first plus is required. So you can take that as a S to S plus S. Leftmost means you have to move from left to right. This S is replaced with A plus. You have to write S. Then it will be A. S value is to be replaced with A star S. Okay. Now this one equal to A plus S value, from S there is a production to A, so I can replace with S. Other S will remain like this. Now it will be A plus A star. This S there is a production to B or not. Now we get the input string A plus A star B. Okay. A plus A star B. So let us draw the parse tree for this one. It will be S to S, S, and this value equal to plus, this value equal to A, this value equal to S star S. Now this value equal to A and this value equal to B. Now we get the input string A plus A star B. I get the input string A plus A star B. Similarly, I have to check whether there will be another leftmost derivation exist or not. Don't go for the comparing left to right. It is either two leftmost derivation or it will be two rightmost derivation. So again, I have to start from, instead of taking S plus S, I can take A star S or not. I can take A star S. Again, leftmost derivation, this S is replaced with S plus S, then it is a star. So this s is replaced as s plus s, then it is a star. Okay, now this s, there is a production to s to a, then the value equal to s star s. Okay, a is converted. What is the next value? Next value equal to s. So you can write like this: a, this value equal to s. Okay, so this value equal to a plus this s can be replaced with the b. Now there exists another leftmost derivation is called as leftmost derivation of 2. Let us construct the parts t for this leftmost derivation 2. So s, it is starting from s star s. Now s star s is denoted by s plus s. This s is to be changed as a. This value is replaced with the a. This value is replaced with a b. Now we get the input string a plus a star b. Now you can check the two parts t are different. Here the left part is only consist of sa, but here the left part is only consist of s plus s. It will consist of a plus a. Here the right part only consists of a b, but here the right part will consist of a star b. Now the graphically the two parts t are different. Hence, if there exists more than one parts t for the same grammar, hence this grammar is ambiguous in nature. This grammar is ambiguous in nature. So either there will be more than one leftmost exist, more than one leftmost derivation exists, or more than one rightmost derivation exists, or the parts t is different, then it is called as ambiguous in nature. It may accept the same thing, but their graphical representation will be different, and the two different representation of the parts t, hence it is called as ambiguous in nature. Okay, so that ambiguous in nature can be removed by left recursion.